Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this evening's fiscal year 22 community budget input session. Tonight, we're focused on City Council District 3. This is our third of 5 community budget input sessions. We're meeting with the community. Tonight, we're in City Council District 3. Councilman Barrera is here with me this evening, the City Council District Representative. And Councilman Pusley, who was here last night as well, is here again this evening, Council Member at Large. Councilman Pusley. Hey, let me just get this off the screen here so I can see. There we go. So we had hoped to do these meetings in the community up until the COVID variant started causing some havoc again in our community. 2 years ago, we were in the community and we had a great time talking to the residents and getting your feedback. Last year, we changed the format a little bit because of COVID. It was the beginning of the pandemic. And we were just calculating, in fact, earlier, a staff member and I, of how long we've been in the pandemic. It's been about 18, 19 months, so close to 2 years. And we were hopeful to be able to go into the community again, but with the Delta variant, we know our case counts are high. And so we decided to protect the community and protect staff as well, and are doing these virtually. And so Mayor Guajardo just joined us as well. Mayor.
Hi, everyone.
So we appreciate the participation and we appreciate you recognizing that everybody's goal should be to keep each other safe and protect us from that terrible COVID virus. So over the next 2 weeks, we'll be hosting a total of 5 community workshops. As I mentioned, this is our third one. So we had one earlier or 2 earlier in the week. And this is the third one. Next week, we'll have 2 additional, one on Monday and then one on Thursday. And that'll give us an opportunity to hear feedback from the entire community on the budget. And so I proposed the budget in late July to City Council, and that's kind of the beginning point. There's several weeks of community engagement, working with the City Council. Today, as an example, we had a almost 3.5 hour long budget work session. It was our second one of 4 where we show the council even more detail of what is in the budget. So the format for tonight is I'm going to turn it over here in a moment to Councilman Barrera, the councilman representative for the district, to have him say some opening comments. Then we're going to come back to me and I'll say just a few overarching comments about the budget, what is in the budget generally and what we focused on. And then we have about an 8-minute video to let you watch. It was put together by our staff here at City Hall, and it highlights those changes in the budget that address the community and the City Council's priorities. And we want to show you that so you can understand it. And then the remainder of the meeting, which should be about 45 minutes, will allow us to hear from you. We have a moderator, our communications director, Deanna McQueen. She'll moderate those questions to us. And either myself or a number of our department heads, we should have about 15 of our executives on. They'll help us answer those questions. That does include the police chief and the fire chief as well. So we have a good lineup for tonight. We're glad we have pretty decent participation. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Councilman Barrera to say some opening comments.
Well, first off, thank you for participating. I know some of you are watching on YouTube and some of you are watching on Facebook. I'm really sorry that we couldn't get out there into the community. And I urge everyone to call my office if you have any concerns or you have some follow-up questions. I know, there's been a lot of questions with regard to the stormwater drainage fee. A few of you have called me already, but my office number is 361-400-2484, 400-2484. And I'll go as far as to say that feel free to call my cell. That's 361-688-7111. May not be able to answer the first time, but we'll see what we can do to set up some time so that way we can talk with some individuals one-on-one. That way, if you have any questions. I'm really excited about this upcoming year with the budget. It's another budget in excess of $1 billion, and there's a lot of infrastructure improvements, particularly in District 3. There's over $55 million in improvements that are going to District 3. There's 27 million of that is going to streets. And one thing that I didn't see included on my little cheat sheet here is also Airport Road is going to be completely rehabilitated. So along with that, Salinas Park, we're going to put $1 million into Salinas Park. It's a great facility already. We've also talked about adding some bike lanes along Airport Road to make it more pedestrian friendly. We're going to put $300,000 into Gabe Lozano Golf Course. We're going to put in, thinking about the economic development of the community. We're going to put $11 million into the Corpus Christi Airport, which is in District 3. Solid waste, another $10 million, and then the wastewater treatment plant, $5.2 million. So I'm really, I have to commend staff and our city manager. They've done a great job of trying to of allocating funds to put back in the community and particularly the streets. $27 million, and I think Airport Road is $4.5 million. Something to that degree. Yeah. So right now you're looking at excess of $30 million that's being devoted to streets, as well as the rest of the budget that we have here that's allocated to residential streets. So with that, Peter, I'll let you take back over. Okay. Thank you so much for all the hard work you and your team have done. You make us look good.
Great. Great. Thank you, Councilman. Mayor, did you want to say anything?
No, I'm fine. Okay,
great.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Councilman. Let me acknowledge too that joining us via WebEx are two additional council members, and they were also on last night. That includes Councilman Hunter, another one of our at-large city council members, and then Councilman Smith from City Council District 4, and he was on last night as well. Both Councilman Hunter and Smith were with us last night, and we'll be in City Council District 4 this coming Monday with Councilman Smith, but tonight's focus is City Council District 3. And so just some quick highlights of the budget. The budget, as Councilman Barrera mentioned, is focused on streets and public safety and parks and neighborhoods. And so tremendous investment in streets, especially in the neighborhood streets, where we know we have to rebuild quite a few of those streets. There's also a focus on police, additional police officer positions, twice as many as what we had planned to add 2 years ago. We're on a 5-year plan of adding 5 each year. With Mayor Guajardo's input, we actually doubled that number. So we'll be adding 30 positions in 5 years instead of 25. More firefighters as well, a brand new medic unit. More investment in our parks across the city and some significant improvements too. Splash pads, dog parks, trails, benches and shade, and more trees. So you'll see that in the video as well. In our neighborhoods, a focus on animal care, including additional live release coordinators, more kennel attendants, and more personnel to help in the field. And then in neighborhoods, also more code compliance officers. In fact, this budget adds 5 additional code officers. There are minimal fee adjustments, so no city property tax rate increase. No water increase for many of the residential users, a new stormwater fee, but the net effect utilizing a utility assistance program will be 0 for most of our homeowners. A small increase in the stormwater fee of less than $2 a month, no increase in the gas rate, and no adjustment or increase for the residential customer in our solid waste and recycling. So the budget is focused on basics. It's fiscally responsible, and it helps the resident with minimal adjustments to the fees this year. We're still mindful of the effects of the COVID pandemic. So again, before we show the video, I did want to point out that the goal for tonight is to hear from the community, and specifically to hear from you on the budget. We want to see what you like in the budget, what you don't like, what you want more of. Each of the past 2 years, as the city manager of the city, after these events, after these community input sessions, we're able to kind of see a consensus across the community of what changes the community wants. And we've actually recommended amendments to the budget that City Council has approved as part of the final budget. And so that is the goal for tonight after we watch this video. So we're going to show you the video next, and then we're anxious to hear what you have to say, because we want to see what you want to do differently in this budget. So with that, Deanna, we're going to roll the video, and then we'll be back to help to have you help us facilitate the communication with the community.
The City of Corpus Christi has put together a record-setting proposed budget. City Manager Peter Zanoni delivered the fiscal year 2022 City of Corpus Christi proposed budget to City Council on July 27, 2021. The proposed budget for the city continues to address the mayor and city council priorities identified by the community. For the 3rd year in a row, we are increasing investment in critical infrastructure and quality of life assets, including streets, public safety, parks, neighborhoods, and our utilities, water, wastewater, stormwater, and gas. The $1.2 billion budget represents $258.3 million in the general fund, $238.3 million in the enterprise funds, $133.1 million in the special revenue funds, $118.2 million in the debt funds, and $420.1 million in the capital budget. The fiscal year 2022 proposed general fund budget is $298.4 million, including transfers, which is up from last year at $265.4 million. With police and fire accounting for 48.5% of the general fund budget, solid waste is $30.7 million, street transfer and lighting is $31.7 million, parks $20.2 million, and other departments like neighborhood services, library, and health total $57.8 million. Here are highlights of the proposed 2022 budget. Street maintenance and reconstruction will be top priority going into 2022. More than $121 million has been budgeted for street maintenance and reconstruction, with $43 million going to street maintenance, $60 million to arterials and collectors, and $18 million to residential streets. $2 million for an in-house street rehabilitation paving crew composed of 12 positions and new equipment, $750,000 for Safe Route to School program to rehabilitate citywide sidewalk infrastructure near education centers, and $880,000 for Vision Zero enhancements and internally illuminated LED street name signs. The police budget proposals include funding for 10 new police officers, 5 more than planned. This increases the plan by adding 5 additional police officers for a total of 30 instead of 25 officers over 5 years. Funds and upgrades to public safety computer-aided dispatch and record management system. Includes a crime scene mapping drone package and funding for construction of a new police academy complex at the Del Mar South campus. The fire department's proposed budget includes funding for 8 new firefighter positions to create an additional medic unit at Station 17 on Yorktown, the purchase of an additional medic unit, potable water tanker truck, and hazmat material response unit, and the funding for construction of a replacement of Fire Station Number 3 located on Morgan Avenue. Parks and Recreation budget proposals include $2.9 million budgeted for numerous one-time capital improvements at 10 area parks, $100,000 for the design of a monument highlighting the 5 branches of the military at Sherrill Park, funding for an additional 230 shade trees throughout city parks, and funding for the addition of 8 swim instructors to expand the summer swim instruction program. The Marina's proposed budget includes $560,000 for a marina breakwater assessment, funding for the reconstruction of People's Boardwalk, funding for dredging as part of the pier replacement program, the replacement and addition of signs throughout the marina, and 2 additional dockhand positions to support the marina 24/7. The fiscal year 2022 proposed budget also includes upgrades to the seawall and Mirador's lighting, seawall event programming, and facility improvements to the Art Center and Art Museum. Neighborhood Services budget proposals include 4 full-time animal kennel techs and the addition of 2 vehicles, 2 additional life release coordinators, an additional veterinarian position, 5 additional code enforcement officers, additional funding for demolition of properties that have become dangerous from sudden acts such as fire and natural disasters, and funding for fee waivers for non-qualifying infill housing properties. The library's proposed budget includes increased building maintenance at all 6 city libraries and funding for exterior improvements at La Retama Library downtown. The Communication Department budget proposals include upgrading the city's website and payment portal and adding 4 call center representatives for the new 311 call center. The City Auditor's Office budget includes an addition of 1 senior auditor position. Solid Waste proposed budget includes no residential rate increase, the addition of 2 positions for litter crew, the addition of 3 positions and garbage trucks to create 2 new garbage routes and 1 recycling route, and the addition of 4 positions and equipment to create an additional brush and bulky crew. Development Services proposed budget includes the addition of 2 building inspectors, the addition of 3 compliance inspectors for non-scheduled inspections, and the modification of fees that have not been adjusted in over a decade. The Corpus Christi International Airport budget proposals include capital improvements to the terminal building, expansion of the public cell phone parking lot, and the addition of 4 parking operations positions. The Water Department proposes the investment of $112.5 million over the next 3 years to replace and repair water distribution lines, and an investment of $145 million in capital improvements over the next 3 years to rehabilitate and upgrade the Owen Stevens Water Treatment Plant. Wastewater budget proposals include the addition of 8 positions for wastewater treatment plant preventative maintenance activities and capital improvements over the next 3 years to repair, rehabilitate, and upgrade all 6 wastewater treatment plants, totaling $118.1 million. Stormwater budget proposals include creating a new and equitable stormwater fee structure by removing the stormwater fee from the existing water rate and developing a 5-year program to upgrade stormwater infrastructure, increase street sweeping, and improve bay, estuary, creek, and river water quality. The Gas Department proposed budget includes the addition of 7 positions to support the meter replacement program and 8 positions to support the infrastructure replacement program. There are proposed increases to the utility rates in the fiscal year 2022 budget. In wastewater, there is a proposed rate increase of $1.97 a month for an average residential customer with a 5,000-gallon winter quarter average. For water and stormwater, a net zero increase is proposed to the average residential water customer using less than 6,000 gallons. Water will decrease by $6.12, and stormwater will increase by $6.12. A utility assistance program is proposed in the fiscal year 2022 budget. The program will provide rate increase relief for residential customers that use less than 6,000 gallons of water per month for low-income households, seniors 65 years of age and older who are low income, and disabled customers. There is no proposed rate change for gas utilities. The fiscal year 2022 proposed budget is balanced, addresses mayor and city council priorities identified by the community, focuses on basic city functions such as public safety and streets, and is consistent with city council approved financial policies. Now that the proposed budget is presented, what's next? To adopt the fiscal year 2022 budget, a public hearing will be held during the August 31st City Council meeting, followed by the first reading of the ordinance approving the budget. The second and final reading of the ordinance approving the budget will be held during the City Council meeting on September 7th. The City of Corpus Christi budget is the blueprint for the next year of programs and services. If you are interested in more details about the budget, visit www.cctexas.com/budget2022.
Live? Yep. Okay, great. We're back, and we hope that video was informational or informational for you. I can't think of the word.
Informative.
Informative. Thank you. Yes, informative. That does highlight those significant investments in the community, as you saw. So at this point, we're going to turn it over to Deanna McQueen, our communications director. And as I mentioned, we have a number of our department heads with us on WebEx. That includes our key departments like public safety, our police chief and fire chief, our public works director, our parks director, library, and a few other executives as well. And so we're ready to talk to the community. And Deanna, we'll turn it over to you for the first question or comment.
All right, thank you, sir. We're going to begin with a couple of questions off of our website. Regarding the proposed standalone stormwater fee, will a residential property with a typical impervious footprint be charged the same as a commercial enterprise of the same parcel size, but with 100% impervious coverage?
Right. We so this morning at our budget workshop at the city council, we spent a good amount of time going over that with the council, and our public works director, who's done a great job with his team on communicating the benefits of the stormwater program, is with us tonight. So Richard Martinez, we're going to turn it over to you for that first question.
Thank you, sir. Again, I'm Richard Martinez. I'm the Director of Public Works, and that's a great question. So residential properties and non-residential properties or commercial properties are not charged in the same factor. So your question is, if the residential size property is the same as a commercial size property with 100% impervious cover, will they be charged the same? And no, they will not. So residential properties are put into 3 tiers based on the impervious cover. So you have tier 1, which is a smaller a tier, and then you have the average tier, which is tier 2, which is between 3,000 and 4,500 square feet. And then you have a tier 3, which is a property over 4,500 square feet. So you fall into those 3 categories, you'll know what exactly your rate will be. And so if you look at a commercial property, it's the same size. It doesn't have the same intensity of development factor. So in other words, that impervious cover, you're correct. It has almost 100% impervious cover. There's a calculation that goes along with it. And so what we're going to be doing is putting all that information on our website so everyone can take a look at that. There'll be drop down menus. And so everybody will be able to calculate their own, whether they're residential or they're commercial. And we'll have drop down menus. So we're hoping to have that in the next week up on the website so that everybody can go back and take a look at it. But to answer your question, no, they will not be charged the same way.
And Richard, so the majority of our residential customers with the average size lot will pay about $6.12 a month for the stormwater fee. Do you have? I know every parcel is different, but on the commercial side, what would that be approximately if it was 100% impervious cover? You know?
I don't have that right off the top of my head, but I can certainly get it for you, sir.
Okay, yeah. See if you can calculate it. So the $6.12 is accurate per month, right, for the general typical residential home.
That is correct.
Okay,
That's correct.
and then we'll see if we can get a dollar figure, just assuming that footprint of that home, and compare it to the question.
Yes, sir.
Great,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
That
Great.
should
All
be-
right. Great, thanks. Deanna, go ahead. We're going to put it back to you.
Yes, sir. Will the city increase residential water rates this year or in future years to pay back the $222 million loan from the Texas Water Development Board for the desalination project? If not, how will the city pay back this loan plus interest on it?
Right, so I'm going to have Michael Murphy, our Chief Operating Officer, speak a little bit to that, but the City Council has not fully taken out the loan. We were approved for that over $200 million loan. The City Council only approved a small portion of it so far, less than 12 million. I think it was about 11.5 million to use for federal studies, potential land acquisition, power purchase agreements, and other services and contingency. So if we do pursue, and if the council does take out the remainder of that loan, which by the way was a very competitive loan process, there were over 90 applicants in this round of the loan through the state agency, the Texas Water Development Board. We were one of 8 recipients. It's a very low interest loan, better than even the interest rates we can get. And so in the first couple of years, assuming the council took out the rest of the loan, the industrial payment that we get for every 1,000 gallons of water they use, which equates to about $3 million annually. That is going to help to pay for the first couple of years of the loan if the council was to take it out in total. There would be in the future years an adjustment to every other customer. We don't have that fully modeled out yet because we're going to see what we do as we move forward. But Michael Murphy, do you have any more information you'd like to add to that? Michael Murphy's a recent hire. He's our Chief Operating Officer over our water and wastewater utilities operations.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. I think you answered that same way I would answer it. We're just not at that point yet. Right now, we are in the process of trying to acquire permits for 2 sites, the La Quinta and the Inner Harbor site. Once we acquire those, then we'll go into right-of-way or property acquisition. And then once we have that piece, then we start going into what is called the procurement phase of the project, which that is where we determine the size of the desal plant if and when we get to that point. And then it'll determine whether or not there will be an increase to the water rate. Right now, if we start with a 10 million gallon, right size it to 10 million gallons per day plant, there will not be an increase to the users, because the drought contingent, or the drought fund that you talked about, Peter, would pay for that. Once we get above the 10 million gallon per day, that's when we start talking about maybe adding additional cost to our users. So the water is what we're calling drought-proof water, and our goal is that this water comes back into Corpus Christi and is available to our residents. And so we will address that once we get to that point with our council. But right now, that's in the next phase, what we're trying to do today. And this is what I told everyone at our meeting last night, and then also earlier this week. We're just not to that point yet. Right now, we're trying to get permits, and then we're going to look at right of way or property acquisition.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. We're on mute, so I'm going to start that again. So I'm going to try and make this a little bit simpler. Industry is already paying an extra additional surcharge of 25 cents per 1,000 gallons, or per additional per 1,000 gallons per gallon.
I think it's per 1,000
Per
gallons.
1,000 gallons, exactly, per 1,000 gallons. And basically what that's been able to do, and they voluntarily done this to basically provide us with this drought-proof source. And so with that, we're generating about $3.5 million a year. Now, based on those decisions, when we originally looked at those models, there was going to be no rate impact to the residential ratepayer based on what we were choosing at that time. And at the first time we were looking at it was about $150 million. Now, we've increased that to review a $220 million loan just to qualify for it. And I'm going to compare that like to buying a car. Just because you get approved for $40,000 doesn't mean you're going to go and spend $40,000. We're looking at it. We're moving very prudently. Right now, we're just borrowed $11 million, which is completely paid for by the drought surcharge the industry is paying, as well as the other communities like Sanpat Water Authority, Beeville Water Authority. They pay an additional 5 cents. So that money right now is covered by these other entities that are large water users, not to the residential ratepayer. So with that, we've borrowed $11 million to move along. And as we move along, we'll make those decisions, and we're going to keep you informed.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Okay, Deanna, we're going to go back to you for some more questions.
Yes, sir.
Peter, it's Richard Martinez.
Oh, hey, Richard. Yes, sir.
You have an answer for your question you asked earlier about the same size lots. So getting the calculation, if we look at an average lot, which is a tier 2, is 4,500 square feet. That is actually a very, very small business. So that would not be very much of a footprint for a small business. But the calculation brings it up to what they would be paying in residential is $612, and what they would pay in commercial is $7.13. What would be more realistic would be if you looked at a half-acre lot, which would be like a small insurance company with 5 parking spaces, which is a small business. You look at that type of impervious cover, an example would be $34 a month, and because of their runoff factor. Most of everything would be runoff, which is parking lot and roof line, sir.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Richard. Thanks for adding that additional information too. The stormwater fee, you may have mentioned it, Richard, but it's a utility, and like any utility, the more you use, the more you pay. And so the use of this utility is stormwater runoff, rainwater running into the stormwater system that we have underground. And so a small home that has a lot of area where the rain can percolate in is not having a lot of runoff, but a business, small, medium, or large, or even a home that has a lot of concrete, the more runoff, basically the calculation is they pay a little bit more for the system. Okay, great. Okay, Deanna, we're going to go back to you for some additional questions.
We have a question now for the Corpus Christi Fire Chief. The fire station at Costoris and Sunnybrook is one of the oldest in the city. When might we see a new fire station?
Chief Rocha, are you there tonight?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Peter, and thank you for the opportunity to address this. This is a very important issue for the fire department, and I have been in deep discussion with the city manager and the chief of staff with regards to what's going to happen after the construction of fire station number 3. I can tell you that in the fire department's plan, we'd love to be able to replace fire station 8, which is the fire station at Costoris, and fire station 10, which is over on Horn Road. Those 2 fire stations are next in line to be evaluated and hopefully a bond package, and then vote by the public and hopefully approval to replace those 2 fire stations.
Great, thank you, Chief. The fire station number 3 that the voters approved in the 2020 bond program, it was for design only, but through other funding sources, including federal dollars we got recently, will help us fund that in total. And that's recommended in the proposed budget. That fire station with design, it is a bigger station, a 5-bay station. That's estimated to be between $8 and $9 million. So it's really a matter of financial resources. So we're working with the chief and the mayor and council to see how do we program these in over time, continuing to address them. But it will take a little bit of time just to put that in perspective. They're about $8 to $9 million per fire station without land acquisition. So, but we're committed to addressing the issue, which is that of replacing stations really that are outdated. Bays are too small to even get our fire trucks in some cases. So, and we want to have good living quarters for the firefighters. So, okay, great. Thank you, Chief. Deanna, we'll go back to you.
Yes, sir. Here's a code enforcement question. Will the budget allow additional code enforcement officers to process tall grass reports quicker? Will mowing of tall grass in public spaces be done more often?
In public spaces, I think the answer is yes to both, Deanna. So the budget has 5 additional code compliance officers, and that would bring our total code compliance officers, Neiman, to, is it 28, 29?
28, sir.
28, okay, so we have 23 today. The budget recommends 5 more, and what that'll do is help us to help the community be compliant with some of the codes that we have that the city council has approved over the years. That includes high grass. City council voted on the first read, no parking on your front lawn. The second read will be this coming Tuesday. So there's a number of code compliance measures that we have to keep our communities looking great. And it does take resources, our code compliance officers, to get out there and help the community follow those. So yes, 5 more. And it's consistent with what we've done in the past 2 budgets, which is continually add a few more code officers each of those years. The city, through our stormwater fee and stormwater program, is also putting more dollars into mowing and maintenance of the right-of-way areas, our medians, our embankments by some of our highways, what we refer to as the right-of-way, and even in our park system. And so our goal is to cut that grass more frequently on right-of-ways, on medians, and also in our parks. So the answer is yes to both, Deanna. I don't know if Richard or if Neiman, if you want to add anything else.
No, sir. I think you captured it good and well, sir.
I agree.
Okay, very good. Deanna, we'll go back to you.
Does the city budget include funds for the Corpus Christi Nueces County Public Health District to address the COVID-19 pandemic?
It does, and it's federal monies that we have received. Right now, as an example, we're working and putting into production an $18 million grant that the city and the county applied for, and we were awarded to the state. That grant of $18 million is designed to help immunize the community, and so it includes dollars for staff persons to get out there in the community rather than having the community come to us for vaccines. There's a lot of public education information in there as well. There's numerous federal grants. That $18 million one was a state grant, numerous federal grants as well that we have in the budget to address that issue.
All right. Let's go to Chief Markle. When will the Police Academy complex at Del Mar South be completed? Will this be a second training location or the only training location for cadets?
That's a great question, and something we're really excited about. One, I'll start with the second part of that question is it will be the primary and only training location for cadets when it's completed. The anticipated completion time is sometime estimated at the end of 23. We're in the design phase right now, which should bring us to the beginning of next year. And I believe over the next couple of years, we'll be building out. And I believe the city manager and council has a pretty aggressive mindset on that and how quickly they want to get that done. It will be our primary training site, and with a little time, I hope that it is a site that this entire Gulf Coast area will be sending their officers to train at also, for continuing education, for special training, and those types of things. That's a great question. Thank you.
And Chief, just to help educate the community a little more, the current training academy has been around for over 30 years, and it's really, I don't even know if 30 years ago was adequate, but very small footprint. What is it, 8,000 square feet?
That's correct.
8,000 square feet. The new one will be 4 times that size. It'll be over 30,000 square feet. So 2 stories. The city partnered with Del Mar College to place it on their Southside campus at a very, I think it's $1 a year lease. And one of the benefits to the taxpayer is that we don't have to pay for certain things that we would have to pay for if we were alone in some other land location. That includes the central AC and heating system, a lot of the site work that has been done on the campus, entryways in, a lot of the studies and design work, and laying out the footprint. So we're saving several millions of dollars by co-locating on that campus. Plus, it gives the police cadet access to continuing education and a beautiful campus setting, especially when we bring cadets in or police officers in from the Coastal Bend region. It'll give them really an additional opportunity to experience our city, maybe go to the gift shop and buy a souvenir for their loved ones back at home, and have access to things like a nice food court and so on. So we're real excited about this initiative. As the chief said, it's almost 30%, 40% in design. And we're moving as quickly as we can because the facilities we have right now for our cadets is just not adequate. Great, thank you, Chief. Deanna, we're gonna go back to you.
Yes, sir. Let's go back to Richard Martinez. Will the 4900 block of Sherrill Drive as well as Allen Crest Drive be included in future street repair projects?
So that's a great question. So the 4900 block of Sherrill and Allen Crest, when we look at that in those neighborhoods, we are currently do have projects that are in that neighborhood. Both of those are not currently scheduled in our IMP, but that doesn't mean that we're not reviewing them for future IMPs and additional dollars to move forward with. What we will do is, this is great information that we're hearing tonight. I'll be glad to go out and take a look at these to see the prioritization. But I will tell you, we are within a couple of blocks from these roadways. And how our IMP works is, in future years, we continue to add on in those neighborhoods, because we like to do neighborhood approaches so that we continue to have improve the pavement structure throughout a neighborhood. So what I'm committed to do is go out and take a look at those streets and evaluate them for prioritization in the future IMP program. So one other thing I wanted to add, for our residents, we have our infrastructure management plan online. You can type in Google infrastructure management plan Corpus Christi, and it'll come right to that page, and you'll be able to scroll down into your neighborhood, look at the map, and be able to see what streets are planned for your neighborhood and what year they're planned in. And then there is a request form in that same on that same page that can say you want to request, if your street's not on there, request for us to review that and reprioritize that roadway.
Richard, thank you. And you may have said it a little bit, but that 5-year infrastructure management plan is is new for the city. City Council approved it for the first time last year, or early this year, actually, in January. And what it does is it gives certainty to the community on what neighborhood streets will be done over a 5-year period. It's a rolling plan because every year we add a new year on. When we complete 1 year, then we'll slide up years two through 5 and add a new year for the new 5th year. So Richard, to access that, if a community member wants to see is my street in the 5-year plan, how do they get to it again?
So they can just go into Google and put in infrastructure management plan, Corpus Christi. And you don't have to worry about to be able to put the exact website, and it will bring up that site really quick, and you can get online and take a look at what is actually planned for the next 5 years. And sir, you're correct. This year during the budget process, we're adding the 5th year on again, which is 2026. As soon as the budget gets approved, that year will be added on. Currently today, it is 21 through 25. But you'll be able to see everything that's planned currently right now. And then after the budget's approved, they'll be able to see the 2026 added on as well.
Okay, great. So you infrastructure management plan, Corpus Christi, just type that into Google. That takes you right to the plan. The good thing about that plan is it can only be changed by city council, by a city council vote. So Richard can't decide next year if he doesn't want to do a street, that he just doesn't do it. Rather, the plan can only be changed by city council. And so that gives the community certainty. You'll know when your street, hopefully it's in one of those 5 years. If not, hopefully it'll be in the new 5-year, but you'll know when your street's going to get done in your neighborhood. Great. Okay, Deanna, we'll go back to you.
Yes, sir. The new Carroll High School is in District 3 at Saratoga and Costurus. Is the city prepared for traffic issues that may come along when the school opens?
Yes, we are. In fact, that same school came up today in one of our conversations about safe routes to school and connectivity, appropriate connectivity to neighborhood. I'm going to have Richard talk a little bit about that, but myself and Richard and this traffic engineer, we met numerous times with the Corpus Christi Independent School District, and we actually had them revise their plans to make sure traffic flow flowed well. We know that students come in the morning, and then there's a peak period when they leave at the end of the day as well. And so putting in traffic mitigation measures and right turn lanes and dedicated left turn lanes was part of that initiative. We've done an extensive amount of work with the district to make sure that the roads were configured to help mitigate those traffic impacts. Richard, I don't know if you want to add to that.
Sure. So sir, yes, you've explained that very well. There's an addition, while we were reviewing that and working with the school district, there's an addition of a median, a concrete raised median that'll be added so that that traffic flow will go into the turn lanes you talked about, will be easier for the motoring public to access, and also to keep the traffic patterns going in the way that need to go in and out of the school district. And you're correct. We have worked with them extensively on that program to see how that's going to affect the traffic in the area and pedestrians throughout the area.
Okay, great. We'll go back to you, Deanna.
Well, Richard's pretty popular tonight. Have a caller, or excuse me, someone that's written in on the city website requesting to know, is Congressional Drive from Weber to Shea Parkway on the pothole schedule?
Everybody's on.
So currently tonight, we don't have a work order on that, but what we will do is, again, that's the whole reason we're listening tonight. I have staff members that are here currently, and we're going to look at ensuring that we open a work order to go out and review that street for repairs. But I want to add, currently today, we have all of our crews that there are 6 crews that are working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week to catch up on our pothole repairs. And I'll give you a little example of why we've got so much more potholes. in the last rains that we had in August, there were extensive amount of rain that we had, which then soaked into the base and weakened the structures of our roadways. And then when a car goes over it, it creates a pothole. And so for us, with all that extensive rain and the damage to our roads, we've had a numerous amount of potholes that have occurred. Our crews are working diligently to catch up. We had gotten to a point before the rains where we were fixing our potholes within 48 hours. And now we're back over a week to try to get to those potholes. But again, tonight, hearing your request, I'll definitely make sure that there's a work order placed and we go and review that roadway for repairs.
And
One last thing, sir, I wanted to add.
Yes, sir.
So congressional from Everhart to Capitol is on our street maintenance program for 2022. That's this next year. So although there may be potholes right now that we go repair, it's going to have a rehabilitation this next year coming up that will put a whole new pavement structure on it and be repaired so those potholes don't reoccur.
Great. And then Richard and Deanna helps to manage our 3-1, well, it's going to be a new number, but our call center. So at any time, if a resident sees a pothole, they can let us know about it. We can get to it sooner. Right now, the number one would call is an 826 city number. There's also an application, an app you can put on your phone to report things like potholes. Deanna, is there anything else we should tell the community on that? It really takes everybody out there to help us identify issues in the community, including the simple ones like potholes. The sooner you all call them in, the sooner we can get to them. That's the correct number, right, Deanna, for right now, 826 city?
Yes, 2489.
826-2489.
Yes, sir.
And that number goes to our call center. We have probably 20, 25 people answering calls during the business day from, is it 7:30, Deanna, or?
7 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay, so 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. The call takers that take your call for service, whether it's a pothole, it may be something to do with your garbage recycling. It could be you see a co-compliance issue in your neighborhood. Anything that you want us to address in terms of services we provide, don't hesitate to call that number and get it into our system, and we'll help to address it quickly. Great. Okay, Deanna, we'll put it back to you.
Yes, sir. Does the budget allow funding for litter and illegal dumping cleanup?
That's a great question, and we're glad it was asked because the answer is yes. And I'm going to introduce David Layfelt, our solid waste director. Before I do, though, we have a crew to help pick up litter in some of our major commercial and residential corridors. It'd be a first for our city, but it includes personnel and a truck to spend 5-6 days a week picking up litter and to beautify our community. We have a litter critter program as well. And before I tell them all about it, David, let me turn it over to you to help explain those initiatives.
Sure. Good evening. You pretty well covered most of it. We do have funding for a 2-man litter crew. They'll be patrolling some of the main thoroughfares downtown, working to clean up the litter that develops. They'll have the ability to go out and clean up along some of the highways and other roads as well. So we're really looking forward to that. The addition, the bringing back of the litter critter with the mayor's and council's help is going to be a major operational feature for us because we'll be able to provide that on a monthly basis in a different part of town each month. And on top of that, we're going to have a brand new crew for our brush and bulky cleanup program. We're going to add to that extra people involved and allow that to happen a little faster than what we're going now. We've been backlogged with the heavy brush load due to the big freeze. And then we've also got the super bag program. We've been out of those bags for a while. We expect them to be in shortly. But this is a handy bag that a homeowner can buy. They can fill it up in their front yard. It's about 8 feet wide, 4 feet wide, and 2 feet tall. And that allows them to dispose of things that wouldn't normally be allowed out at the curb, construction material, tile, some other things. So we've got a lot going on. There's a lot of money in the budget to help out. We're expanding our trash collection crew and our recycling crew as well. So we're pretty excited about the additions to the budget.
Great, thank you, David. Deanna, we're gonna go back to you.
Yes, sir. Does the budget include funding to fix and maintain the water garden?
That's a great question. So the water garden is included in our budget right now, and maintenance dollars would probably be budgeted in the next year budget. The goal is to get it done close to by the end of next summer, maybe early fall. And so as we develop next year's budget, we'll put maintenance dollars in. That's something we're doing more often. The Cole Park Pier, that'll be done in late September. We included $150,000 in the budget, in the parks budget, to appropriately maintain what's going to be a beautiful facility. So in the water garden, we have a budget of over $4 million. It's 4.5 with some contingencies and some of the inspection services that we do here in the city using our in-house forces. And that project is out to bid, or will be out to bid. And we hope to be able to select a contractor soon with city council approval, and construction commencing later this summer or early fall.
All right, thank you for that. Here's a question for parks. Will shade structures eventually be added to all parks with playground equipment?
Yeah, Neiman, do you want to answer that?
Yes, sir. We are trying to scale to that vision of having shading in all of our parks. But until we meet that end, we are definitely increasing our funding and increasing our strategy to add more furnishings to our parks. That includes a proposal to furnish our Ocean Drive parks. We have some major funding program for the regional parks across the city. And we also have a strategic recreational master plan where we're going to be looking at programming that plan to address more furnishings and services and amenities in those parks across the city.
Might want to mention the consultants we've hired to advise us on our
10-year plan? Or sorry, yeah. Right, and so Neiman talked about it, and Councilman Pusley reminded us about it as well. So the city right now, we're in the process of updating our master plan for parks. We have a 10-year master plan, and it hasn't been updated, or it needs to be updated because it's reached its 10-year life, the current one we have. So we have a consultant, Half and Associates, that's helping. They gave an update to City Council this Tuesday. I believe we're about halfway through the development of this plan. Now, I'm glad Councilman Pusley brought it up, because there's two things that the community can do right now without having to go anywhere. One is complete a survey, and I'm going to have Neiman give us the addresses of these two things. And then the second one is enter into a virtual room, kind of like a meeting that can happen anytime virtually, and go through there and give us input in that forum as well. So Neiman, tell us how do you get to the survey, and then tell us about that virtual room as well.
Yes, sir. We're very excited to be participating in modernized technology to actually gain feedback from members in our community regarding what they would like to see in our recreational facilities across the city. And the city manager is absolutely correct. Those tools include online mapping. We also have a virtual town hall, which is a 3D room where you can actually navigate the room and learn more about the Parks and Recreation Master Plan and add feedback to the different facilities where you would like to see more amenities and services. In addition, we also have an online survey that you can navigate to and make sure that your voice is heard and your input is heard into the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. If you would like to visit any of these tools and add feedback to the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, please feel free to visit www.cctexas.com/parks, that's PARKS, master plan, all one word. Or you can email parksandrecmasterplan@cctexas.com.
Okay, great. emailing somebody would do what, Neiman, if you emailed that?
That will immediately get you access to either a half consultant or a Parks and Recreation staff member, and they'll be able to have one-on-one engagement with you to make sure that any questions that you're having regarding navigating the site or any issues that you're having accessing the site, they can definitely walk you through the process to make sure that your feedback is heard.
Okay, great. And that survey is good because it asks a lot of questions about what is your preference in a park setting, what type of parks do you use, what do you want more of in our park system. So we've had, according to the consultants, some real good dialogue already and input, especially the random input across the entire city. I know I want to fill it out myself, and so I encourage the community to get in there and fill it out before it closes that portion of the master plan.
Peter,
Okay, yes.
Peter, this is Dante, Interim Director of Parks and Recreation. I know that the question was related to structures, specific playgrounds with shade structures. But I just wanted to take the time and mention that we're also adding a significant amount of new shade structures with picnic tables. And not only will the kids be able to enjoy that shade, but also adults who are there to supervise the children.
That's true, Dante. Thank you.
Well, while we're at it, we might as well talk about trees. You want
Yes.
to talk about that?
We can, yes. Thank you, Deanna. So this budget, similar to the first budget I did 2 years ago, has $200,000 to plant over 100 trees in our parks. And our first budget focused on Labonte Park and some neighborhood parks, primarily in City Council District 2 and some of the older inner city areas. We have another 200,000 again for the second time, and that will plant over 100 trees. This time we're going to distribute it a little bit more across all the community in each 5 city council districts. And so these are hardy and native shade trees, not necessarily a palm tree. If you want an example of them, and if you're ever up by Labonte Park, just drive in there. You'll see them lining the driveway in the park. They're beautiful. They're really doing a great job too.
Very nice.
They've taken root real good. And that rain we had this year really helped them, but we have to keep an eye on them for at least 5 years. We have a good watering plan and general maintenance plan. So yes, we're excited about that. We know we need more shade. The council's told me that 2 years ago, and we continue to hear it. So we have more dollars in this budget to do even more tree planting across our community in our park system.
All right. Okay, so the golfers want to know more about improvements coming to Lozano Golf Course. What can you tell us?
Great, and let me just correct myself on the number of trees. So it's 200,000 for over 230 shade trees.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
it was 200,000.
200,000 for over 230 shade trees. Great. So Lozano, we're excited about that. We know that's in City Council District 3.
Absolutely.
And that's one of our 2 golf courses. It's managed by an outside contractor that the city brought on board many years ago, but they're doing a great job. In fact, we meet with them quarterly. I do to just review with them the business and how can we help them make those golf courses be even better than what they are today. So at Lozano, we have over $2 million that's included in the budget for the upgrading of what is on site right now, but you really probably don't know, but there's a 9-hole executive course when you first come in. But the greens are in not that great shape. There's no irrigation, and it needs a complete overhaul. And the private vendor is going to do that for us for the city. So there's over $2 million for that investment at Lozano. We're also working with the Type B board. It's a sales tax funded initiative to add an additional $500,000 to put nighttime lighting on that 9-hole executive course. That would be the first golf course in the Coastal Bend region that has nighttime lighting. We're expecting that to hopefully expecting that to go through. The tee times would be from 7 o'clock to as late as 11 o'clock, I believe. So that's going to be a great venue for the community using that course at night. Neiman, I don't know if I'm missing anything for the Lozano.
Yes, sir. I actually pulled up the presentation, and I just want to expound upon a couple of improvements that I think would be especially interesting to the golfing community. The project includes expanding the practice tee to accommodate 50 hitting stations at one time, It'll add a new 10,000 square foot practice putting green. We'll also add short game practice area for chipping and bunker practice. And there'll be a precision pitching area with small target greens at 10-yard distances up to 100 yards. So not only will you be allowed, afforded an ability to have a facility that you can get a quick round of golf in, but it'll also allow for more amenities at the golf course where you can practice on your game and sharpen your skills as you improve your craft in golf.
Great, thank you, sir.
So we have a question for Richard Martinez. How much funding will go towards residential streets in District 3?
And that's a great question. So first I'd like to add that there are over 145 projects in District 3. And of those 145 projects, 34 of those projects are residential street reconstruction projects. So on average, we spend $4 million a year in District 3 for that. So $20 million over a 5-year period. But we're spending more than $30 million of streets in District 3 in the next 5 years.
Okay, Deanna, we had told the community that we'd be about an hour on this town hall, and we're reaching that 7 o'clock time frame. We want to be mindful of everybody's time, and so we're going to turn it back over to you to wrap up. But I did want to make a comment back to those trees. I saw a comment on Facebook. So the 200,000 for trees is a small part of investment in our parks. We have almost $3 million for significant investment in over 10 parks to include shade structures, splash pads, dog parks, equipment. And so there's a tremendous investment beyond just the trees in our parks, and it's even greater than the investment in the Lozano Golf Course.
And you know, one thing I want to mention also, in working in partnership with Commissioner Joe Gonzalez over New Haven Park, there's going to be a new water feature out there. It's not necessarily a splash pad, but it's going to have these great fountains that children can splash around in. We're really excited about the improvements there, and I want to thank Commissioner Gonzalez for really stepping up so that way we can make a great impact to that neighborhood park.
Great, thank you. And it's great partnering with our colleagues and partners at Nueces County. Okay, Deanna, we're going to turn it back over to you. Is there any other wrap-up questions or overall comments, Deanna?
Well, let's see here. We have a question. People are asking when the litter critter will be in District 3.
Great. We have that answer, and I have from David here.
Yes, sir. That the litter critter is scheduled for District 3 on December 4th. It'll be the last one for this year.
Okay, great. That's a Saturday, December 4th.
Saturday, December 4th for that litter critter. Yes, sir.
And do we have the location identified yet?
I believe it's Ray High School. I think that's the right high school. It is the high
Ray
school in that area.
No, Ray High School is District 2.
Okay, I'm not sure which high school it is, but it's at the high school that's in that district there.
Well, we've got there's Moody, Carroll, West Oso, but we'll figure it out and get it out.
Okay, apparently I've got the wrong date then. I'll have to get back with you on that one.
All right. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, David. The litter critter program, just so the community knows, is a big dumpster, basically a roll-up dumpster, so it's flat on the ground, and allows you to bring outside of the normal collection cycles that we have, which is 4 times a year at the curbside for brush and bulky. It allows you to bring additional bulky stuff to that drop-off center. The mayor and city council just brought that initiative back. We had it, but it kind of wasn't fully funded, and we didn't have the best business plan, so we revamped it, remodeled it, and we're coming to one of the districts. Is it every month, David, or every other month?
No, we have it on a monthly basis. We've had the first 3. We're moving in down from Cal Allen. Next month, September, first weekend in September, it's going to be on the north side of town. not Cal Allen, but one south from there. So,
Okay.
Toloso Midway.
Still also gonna have the road trip.
One at Toloso Midway.
Yeah, Toloso Midway will be the next one, David, but, right, so it's just another opportunity to keep our neighborhoods and homes looking good. It's free and, easy access, and staff's there to help if you need the help. Okay, Deanna, so, it's 7:04 at this point, based on our clocks over here at City Hall. Unless there's any other questions, we'll close out the meeting for tonight.
I think it's a wrap.
Okay, very good. Thank you for your great hosting. We got some good comments in the community that said you did a great job on helping us communicate with our neighbors. So we appreciate you, Deanna.
I
And with that,
appreciate it. Thank you.
you're welcome. Yes. With that, I'm going to close out, and then I'll have Councilman Barrera make the final concluding comment. So we appreciate you being with us tonight. On Facebook that I was tracking over here, we had a pretty good attendance at the City Council District 3, about 50 on average through the evening. Staff has been listening, and we've been tabulating what you've been talking about to see if we need to make any adjustments to City Council in the budget as we conclude all the community input. We thank you for adjusting to this format, and we know that along with you, our goal is to keep our community safe. We want to be mindful of the increased caseload and do our part to help bring that down. So with that, let me turn it over to Councilman Barrera for our concluding comments for this evening.
Yeah, well, once again, I just want to thank all the team, all the staff, and Deanna, you've done a great job. We know that Richard Martinez is very popular. And so what is it? We get a lot of calls with him, and, I just want to let everybody know that we're listening. Recently, Dora Inosa, whose mother lives in the Tanglewood area, contacted me when I first got elected about the drainage problem. Well, right now, through some ARPA funds, we've got that money appropriated to fix the drainage out there in the Tanglewood area. The wheels of bureaucracy move slow, unfortunately, but, we're going to get to it. And like I said, if you weren't able to listen in tonight and you're listening to this on YouTube later or Facebook Live, once again, my office number is 361-400-2484. My personal email address is roland@rbi96.com. roland@rbi96.com. Send me an email, give me a call, or shoot me a text, and that way we can get your question answered. And this city staff and Peter work for you. And we're just here as window dressing to make sure that they do their jobs and follow up on them. But you're the ones that react to us. So give me a call and we'll do whatever we can. And I'm sure Councilman Pusley he's more than happy to help. And I've been very pleased working with him since he got here. So thank you again. Good job, Peter, and your team.
Great, and thank you. And thank you, Councilman Pusley, for being here again. He's been here with us for the past 2 nights, and this makes us third. And we thank Councilman Smith as well as Councilman Hunter for joining us remotely, and the mayor as well. So with that, we're going to close out. We have 2 more meetings next week, one in City Council District 4, which will be on Monday, and then our final one in City Council District 5, which will be on Thursday of next week. So have a good evening and stay safe out there. Thank you.